to hop on. I know they always like to listen to the replay. All right, it's 3 minutes after, so welcome, Water People. I'm so excited to have all of you on. It's our third virtual session, so we've been doing this weekly every Sunday, and I see some familiar faces and I see a lot of new faces, so thanks to everyone for just carving out an hour to spend together today. I know like the virtual space is already getting crowded and we have to now prioritize what we're calling into. So I just appreciate that you guys are all here to join for this amazing time that we're going to have with Justin, Michael Williams, and also my friend Nix. Before we get started, I love to just read off where people calling in from. So if you haven't yet, hop over to the chat feature. I'm going to read off some of the places people are calling in from around the world, so we can all just get a little bit acclimated as a group. So Santa Clarita, California. Hi, Sarah, just down the street. Charlotte from San Diego. Waterton, Boston. Awesome. Trish, thanks for hopping on. Santa Monica, just down the street. Hey, Ryan, calling in from Salted Carmela, amazing. Kelsey and Hudson from Florida. We've got Britt from Denver, San Luis Obispo, Maryland, very cool. Joe from California, Newport, Oregon, more people from LA. Oh, we're talking about what's in our cup, which I love. Thank you, Jackie from the UK. Santa Barbara, Austria. Very cool. Thank you for calling in all the way from Austria. That's amazing. Montana, LA, Mar Vista, the UK, Santa Monica, Malibu, Venice. We got a lot of West Coast people here. I love it. It's awesome. More Jill from Florida. Awesome, Jill. Someone else from Maryland. Thanks, Amanda. Arizona. So very cool. I just love hearing from where you are all calling in from around the world, and it's a pretty cool community that we have. I always like to say that we don't have to be surfers or whatever to join this crew. We're all water people, right? You guys have probably heard the stat that we're made up of approximately 70% water, and I think we all have, while I'm a surfer, we all have a unique relationship with water, a unique story with water, and so it's something that really brings us all together. And I've just found, for me personally, with Salted Spirit, being part of this community and doing the podcast and everything has just been a really comforting project and passion project for me, connecting me with a lot of amazing people like you. So the goal of these sessions, and why I really have been bringing us all together, is really to nourish those main pillars of wellness that keep us well. And whether that's our physical wellness with our workouts or our exercise, or our mental wellness. And for those of you that know me, you probably know that I'm pretty focused and passionate about mental health. I've worked in the industry for about 17 years now, so it really drives me to continue to have these kinds of conversations and talk about the tough stuff, right? Because there's a lot of stigma and taboo things around mental health. And especially I think now that we're experiencing a lot of emotions that maybe we've never experienced, at least to this degree, as far as, loneliness and isolation. And a lot of those things, like kind of those last few joys or outlets, have been stripped away from us for our own good, as far as, hiking the trails or getting out in the water. And those kind of have some red tape around them right now. But I think while some of those external variables are on hold temporarily, it's really an opportunity for us to look at some of our internal landscape a little bit more deeply. And that's why I'm just really honored and excited to bring Justin here and have him take the stage today. I also, like I mentioned, have my lovely friend Nix Hubert, and she's been on all of my sessions, so her name's probably starting to sound very familiar, in her lovely soothing voice. She's going to be hopping on towards the end as well. And her family, her son and daughter. So with that, to be very honest, it was hard to put together a summary of like, who is Justin and what does he do, and tell you all the amazing things, because there's just so many things. But at a very high level, he is the author of an amazing book called Stay Woke. He is this incredibly strong voice for diversity and inclusion in wellness, and just so many things, an artist and a creative and a speaker. And I'm just, again, really humbled to have him take the stage today. So Justin, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you.
Oh my goodness, Stacy, and can everybody, you can hear me okay? Yes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, cool. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys so much for having me today. It's such an honor and a privilege on this beautiful Sunday that I don't take for granted. And one of the things that is just so interesting about this time is that we're all, I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely finding that somehow, even though we're physically distant, that I'm like way more socially connected to the people who are close to me than I usually am, on so many levels. Like last night, I took a dance class with my niece and my sisters on FaceTime, which is like never, we had like a family dinner the other night. It's just been so many things happening. So although I know we're in such a trying time and an interesting time and a dynamic time, I also just want to have us bring our minds to the different things that are happening in our world that we may have to be grateful for. And one of the things that I want to do very quickly as we start here right now is actually bring us into a very quick gratitude practice before I even begin with anything, just to affect the energy of our group here right now. And so one of the things that's really interesting you'll learn about me is that I'm actually kind of like a science geek secretly, not so secretly anymore now that the book is out. But one of the things that I love is all the neuroscience and the studies that they're doing, especially at the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley. Dacher Keltner, those of you guys who may know him, is a good mentor of mine. And they're doing a lot of research on actually the science of gratitude and the science of happiness. And one of the things that they're finding is that when we do daily gratitude practices, it's not just like this woo-woo thing that makes us feel good, but it actually starts to heal the cells in our bodies. They're finding that people are healing faster when they have a grateful mindset. And one of the things that I always find, because I know that probably every single person on here has heard of a gratitude practice, is that we try gratitude practices for a little while and we probably get bored. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this every night before bed. And you may last for like 2 weeks and then you get bored. And one of the reasons why that happens is because they found that people are not being specific. And one of the things when they're doing gratitude practices and all the studies that they found where all the benefits happen is when you're very specific about something that you have to be grateful for that specific day. So a lot of times what people do is like, okay, I'm gonna do a gratitude practice. And they're like, well, I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my house. And like, that just doesn't last that long. You get over it pretty quickly, right? And so we have to be very specific. So what I wanna do to make it specific to this session today is I'd love for everybody to type into the chat box one thing that they've had to be grateful for during this coronavirus period. One thing that you have to be grateful for that's being caused or that's happening in this period or during this cycle or anything like that. So feel free to share. I'll start reading some stuff off. Fresh garlic. Let's see. Beer. Perfect. Beautiful. Your staff being healthy. Oh, having your son home with you. That's beautiful. Gardening. Time with kids. Hand sanitizer. Woo! Okay, let's see what I can get here. This is beautiful. I love the gratitude onslaught. Cooking and good meals. Me too. Time to garden. Time to cook. Everybody likes to cook. Internet connection, right? Can you imagine what we'd be doing without the internet, you guys? Like, seriously, I think it's been interesting because, there's been a lot of negative talk about what the internet's been doing for our world over the last few years and how it's disconnecting us and how, and now everyone's like, especially older generations are like, oh, actually, what's that Zoom thing that you guys are all talking about? What's that FaceTime thing? All right, let's see. Quarter mile from empty beaches, plants, everybody making medicine, making music on your keyboard, Olivia. Beautiful. Charlotte, stepping back in and enjoying the calmness and slowing down. Amanda, connecting with people online over shared anxieties. This is all so beautiful, you guys. Jenny, we started a garden. So many gardening. I love all the gardening happening. So this is beautiful. Making tonics. Peloton. I'm with you on the Peloton. Amanda, this is amazing. Meditation. So, we can go on, but I think we have to shift our awareness as much as we possibly can to this, to be in this space. And that's not in a way to like spiritually bypass what's actually happening, because we actually have to look at the places in our world that are in drought or that are suffering. And I think many of us are very privileged and very grateful to be able to use this time as a sacred pause or as a time to garden or as a time to be with family. There's probably the majority of people in the world are not having that opportunity. So as we have this opportunity, we have to use it to our advantage and to spread this positivity and spread love and spread light to everybody that's around us, you know, because there are a lot of people who are having a really hard time right now as well. So I want to just start out talking to you guys a little bit about meditation here today. And, you know, how I got into meditation is a long but short story that I'll tell you guys right now. Basically, I grew up in a home with gunshot holes literally on the outside of my house, in a town in the Bay Area in Northern California, with domestic violence and trauma and a lot of abuse and alcoholism and a lot of things that a lot of young people, especially young people of color, people in communities that are underprivileged, are facing today. I know so many of you who've been following Marianne Williamson will have heard her say that like our young people today are facing a level of PTSD that's similar to returning war veterans coming back from Iraq. And that environment is the environment that I grew up in, but there's nothing P or post about it when it's every single day. And then you're expected to go into a school and then go learn. And then the teacher's getting mad at you because you're not paying attention. When, like for me, for example, like I just left my house and like saw my mom get choked and then I got dropped off at school, you know, and the teachers are upset. And this is what kids are facing every single day. And so for me and for many kids, there's several ways that you try to get out of that environment, you know, and one of those ways that luckily my adaptation was to try to just be really smart so that I could just get out and try to make a better life for my family. And I'm so grateful to say that I did. You know, my whole family, I had a brother who's been in and out of jail. My whole family didn't have that adaptation. I just feel lucky that, you know, I think anytime we have trauma, and we all have our traumas, sometimes we adapt in ways that look healthy and some that don't. And mine was in the overachiever way. The thing that I say, I think many people will probably on this call resonate, like having overachiever syndrome, actually growing up, you know? And so I'm so grateful to say that I did. I ended up graduating from high school, getting a full ride academic scholarship to go to UCLA. I get to UCLA and I have everything in my life is the way that I had always dreamed it would look. I, for the first time, had money, extra money. So it was in like, this was like 15 years ago. So I was buying like designer jeans for the first time when like 7 jeans and True Religions were like the in thing to do. And, you know, living in Westwood, went from living in the hood to living in Westwood, like going to school, graduating with honors, doing this whole thing. And I had this moment where I realized, hold on a second. I did every single thing by the book. I did every single thing. I checked every box on my external circumstances, and I'm still miserable. I'm still not happy inside. And I was sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? This is not the way it was supposed to work. I did every single thing. And I think we all have these experiences, trying to change something in our outside world, hoping that it's going to change something inside, trying to change our hair or our car or our job or all the things that we try to change, hoping that it'll help us make us feel okay within, you know. And so when that happened, somebody had recommended to me that I try yoga and meditation. So you guys have to remember here, this was almost 15 years ago. And so I was like, meta what? Like, what are you talking about? Like meditation? Like Oprah hadn't done a meditation challenge yet. I definitely didn't know any Black people meditating. And I literally asked the person, I said, isn't that like worshiping the devil? Is that a cult? What is that? Like, had no idea even what it was. I think it was one of my first times even hearing the word consciously meditation. And so anyway, I end up going to a class, hated it. Like most people, their first time. I'm sitting there like, okay. It's like 5 minutes have passed. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be trying to get my mind to stop thinking. I can't stop thinking. How am I supposed to stop thinking? Is everybody else stopping thinking? I'm like looking at the clock. It's only been 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, shoot, oh my God, I got 30 more minutes in here. And then of course, at the end of class, the teacher comes up and is like, how was it for you? And I was like, oh, it was wonderful. Lying. That's what everybody does, lying, okay? When they've been sitting there the whole time for 20 minutes, beating themselves up about the practice. And so that was my experience as well. And then something happened where fate really stepped in a really strong way. That same night that I had gone to that meditation class that I hated, I got invited to go to a party. And I go to that party and I sit next to this older gentleman. So I just want to give you guys the picture. I'm like 19 years old, flaming, just out the closet. Okay, I was wearing like a deep V-neck American Apparel t-shirt that was like highlighter pink or something. I had a ponytail. My eyebrows were snatched. I mean, it was just a whole thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm next to this older white gentleman. So in his late 60s, white hair, I think he was wearing Crocs and cargo shorts. So give you the dynamic here, okay? And so he sits next to me and he says, "Hey, young man, how was your day?" And I said, "Oh, it was all right. I went to this meditation thing though, but I didn't really like it." And I lean into him and I was like, "Have you ever heard about meditation?" And little did I know, I'm sitting next to one of the world's most renowned meditation teachers and scholars. His name is Lauren Roche. Many of you may know of him. He wrote Meditation Made Easy, Meditation Secrets for Women, Radiant Sutras. I mean, literally books that have been in print for 30 years. And can you imagine my little self sitting here, "Have you ever heard about meditation?" You know, so all that happened after that moment is Lauren invited me to practice with him. And he said, "Let me teach you something." And so he teaches me this practice. And in that moment, it felt totally different than the first practice that I had done. And in that moment, something really special happened. For the first time in my life, I saw a future where my possibilities were bigger than my circumstances. My possibilities were bigger than my circumstances. And that's big for all of us, but I need you guys to recognize, for people who've grown up with trauma or abuse or anything like this, where you can see something bigger than your circumstances, is a game changer. And so at the end of that practice, Lauren had said to me, "You know, we're going to help you dream bigger. And I want you to try this practice every day for 2 weeks. And if it works for you, young man, I'm going to teach you everything I know." And I'm looking at him like, why? I'm thinking, what does this man want, you know? And he just said, "I've never in my 30 years of teaching seen someone who looks like you, who's your age, who's gone through what you've gone through, interested in this practice. And I think one day there are going to be people who need to hear your voice who don't need to hear mine." And so that was almost a decade ago, a little over a decade ago. And I ended up apprenticing with him for 3 years and traveling and speaking and teaching, and then now having the blessing and honor of putting out my first book, which has been really exciting, Stay Woke, which has been really amazing, and was on the book tour until Miss Corona Girl decided to make her grand appearance here and canceled it. So it's just getting postponed till the fall. And so what I want to do with you guys today, in this short amount of time that we have together here, and I promise I'm going to walk you through as much as I can in this short amount of time that we have. And for those of you who want to take this further with any additional tools or training or support, I promise at the end I'll have a few special things for you guys. But I want to walk us through a practice that's going to help all of us dream bigger. All of us dream bigger, because wherever you are, I don't care what circumstance is happening in your life right now, I don't care where you sit, if we are here, we have a purpose and a calling that is on our lives. And it is our responsibility to step fully into it and to at least be in relationship with it in a more deeper way, at the very least. And so when I go into Dream Bigger, can I share my screen, Stacy? Is that okay? I think it'll let me. Yeah, I got it. Cool. So I'm going to actually scroll ahead a little bit. So when we talk about Dream Bigger, can you guys see this right now? Yeah? Okay, cool. So when we talk about Dream Bigger, there's nobody that's taught me about dreaming bigger more than this woman on the screen, who is my grandmother, who in our family we call Baka. So we call her Baka. Really, it's nothing special. It's just I'm the oldest, and I was a crazy little kid. And you know, when you're teaching little kids, and I see Kelsey has a little one right there, so hi. When you're trying to teach little kids how to talk, they were trying to teach me how to say grandma, and they would go, "Say grand," and I'd say grand, and they'd say ma, and I'd go ma. They say grandma, and I go Baka. So that's how she became Baka. And so this is my grandmother, my Baka. And several years ago, my Baka got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and the doctors told her she only had a couple months to live. And when this happened, it was a huge shock to our family. She was what I consider young, 67, seemingly healthy. And I flew home to the Bay Area to be with her. And when I walked in the door, she pulled me in the room and asked me a question that literally changed the trajectory of my entire life. She said, "If you were in my shoes and you knew you were going to die in 2 months, what would you do? If you were in my shoes and you knew you were going to die in 2 months, what would you do?" And when she asked me that question, I felt this quote that I had heard just flash in front of me. And it said, someone once told me the definition of hell. On the last day you have on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. On the last day you have on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. And I know if you're hearing this quote for the first time, it's probably hitting you where it hit me. And this flashed in front of me. And in my life at that moment, to give you guys context, I had gone to UCLA. I wanted to do music. I didn't do music because I got teased a lot when I was a kid about being too feminine doing music. And I stopped myself. And also just growing up in the way that I did, my parents and everybody around me was like, you cannot go to school and do music. You need to go do something secure, something that's going to make you money, something that's going to be a little bit more safe. So I did marketing, graduated with a marketing degree, ended up starting a marketing company in college, was making 6 figures by the time I was 23, was driving a BMW, living in Venice, 2 blocks from the beach, living the dream, external circumstances, right? But the thing is, when my grandmother asked me this question and said, if you knew you were going to die in 2 months, what would you do? I literally just blurted out to her. I said, I would stop every single thing I'm doing and I would record an album. I would do music. And the thing is, ever since I was a little boy, here's little Justin, I had always wanted to do music ever since I was a little kid, but I let all the kids at school who teased me about being gay, about being different, make me think I sucked at everything. And I stopped myself. And I think we all have these things. We all have these dreams and these goals and these things that we think are not possible for us because we think we're too fat or too old or too ugly or too gay, or we should have done it before we had kids, or we should have waited before we got married, or we all the things that we tell ourselves. But basically we convince ourselves and we internalize the oppression and we tell ourselves, nope, that dream you have is not for you. And so in that moment, when my grandmother asked me that question, it woke something up inside of me. And I ended up, thankfully, she made me promise her that I would do it. And you don't break promises to your grandmother. And so unfortunately, she wasn't here to see any of it, but I ended up putting out an album a few years later that ended up charting in the top 20, which was really, really crazy. So it was Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, and then me. So my little gay boy dreams came true. And I remember at one point in my life, I was regretful that I hadn't started earlier, because I realized when I started, like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like, what if I would have started when I was 12, you know? And then I recognized that the reason I was able to make this happen was because I knew about marketing as an independent artist. So the thing is no experience is wasted. You are not too late. You have not wasted time. The only thing that we have to do is start now. The only thing we have to do is start now. And so what I'm going to do now is I would like to guide you all through a meditation experience together, if that's cool with you. And Stacy, if you can just type into the chat box for me, just so I'm clear on our time, when my stop time is, that would be, or just tell me. You can also just tell me, but that would be really helpful.
Yeah, just maybe about 9:55. If Nix wants to hop on and do the.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you. That just orients me a little bit. So
yeah, and if people, you know, if you want to go a couple minutes over, Justin, people can hop off if they need to, but if they want to stay on for a few extra minutes, you know.
Oh, this is what I'll do, you guys. So I will end officially on time, and then for people who want to stay longer for questions or to talk, I can stay on and chat. So we'll do that, and I'll open up for questions too. So I'm going to guide us through a little meditation experience. But one of the things that I want to tell you guys, I wish I could see all of you right now, but for most of us, okay, there's many people on here probably have a meditation practice or tried to meditate before. One of the things I normally ask, but I can't see the little grid of people right now, is like, how many of you guys meditate? Raise your hand. And then I'm like, how many of you guys, Stacy, did you want to say something? No, you're good.
I think if you hover, you can do show gallery view, and then you might be able to see everybody, Justin.
Okay. Oh, okay, I can see you guys now. Okay, so now I'm going to ask my questions. How many of you guys have a meditation practice at all? Raise your hands. I'm scrolling. Okay. It's about half the room. Great. Perfect. And for those of you who have a meditation practice, how many of you, when you sit down to meditate, it feels like I talked about in that first class, like, okay, I'm supposed to be meditating right now. I'm supposed to stop thinking. I'm just trying to stop thinking, but I can't stop thinking. I'm supposed to say, okay, shoot, I'm sorry. Okay. And then I'm really relaxed. Oh, shoot, now I'm relaxed. I'm trying to. This is how meditation is for most people, right? Okay, got it. Yes, we're going to get past that. And the reason why this happens is because one of the biggest myths about meditation is this idea that in order to meditate, you have to get your mind to stop thinking. This is not possible, okay? You do not have to get your mind to stop thinking. And for those of you who think you can't meditate, this is one of the number one things that I always say. If you can worry, you can meditate. Because worrying and meditation work exactly the same way. Now, if I ask everybody on here, how many of you have worried before? I'm sure everybody in this room would raise their hand, okay? So we know how to meditate. When they actually study our brains, they find that worrying and meditation actually happen very similarly in the brain, the functions of the brain. When we're worrying, what happens? We return to some negative, fearful thought over and over about the future or the past or something that we're worried about that's rooted in what? Fear and hopelessness. And we continue to return to it again and again, like a homing pigeon. We can be trying to work or trying to exercise or trying to talk to somebody, and we keep coming back to it. Meditation works exactly the same way. The only difference is we flip the switch from worrying to empowerment. And then we choose what we're returning our minds to every day. We choose what we are going to focus on. And this is revolutionary. This is powerful because if we're not choosing, I'll get a little neuroscience-y with you guys for a second here. If we are not choosing, then the external world is choosing for us. The media is choosing for us. We've seen this, and I think we've all experienced this and been guilty of it right now during this pandemic period. And what happens is there's a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this, but it's also known as the RAS. Get a little neuroscience-y with you guys. So the RAS is the part of your brain that helps you notice things. And the reason why this function of the brain exists, there's many reasons, but one of the ones that I want to mention now is because the brain can only process a limited amount of things at once, and we have a limited amount of storage, but we have billions of stimuli just flying at us all day, colors and sights and thoughts and this. And so the brain needs something to filter what's important and what's not important. And the part of the brain that filters this for us is the reticular activating system. It's the RAS. And so what happens is if we are not telling our brain what to focus on, it works in a mode that's called default mode. So default mode is there to do what? To keep us safe. But what the brain thinks is safe is the same. It wants to keep us in the same spot that we're in now. No matter how uncomfortable we are, no matter what trauma we've grown up with, the brain is trying to keep us here because we're used to being there. And so it filters out things that might help us grow because it's used to filtering in things that keep us in this familiar state. Is this making sense to you guys right now? And so when we set an intention, when we actually set our vision on where we want to go, we're telling our RAS, no, default mode is not what's safe. This is where I want to go. This is where I want to be headed. And then our brains start to filter out filter in actually the things that take us towards our growth and our transformation. And so this is how sometimes when we're not setting intentions, this is how oftentimes we end up in like feeling like we're doing all this work and we end up in the same spot, or feeling like we're constantly trying to change and grow, but sometimes things feel like they're not ever changing, right? And so this is how we end up in the same toxic cycle, same relationships, same stuff like this over and over again. So this is why setting an intention is actually revolutionary. And I love the science behind this because we talk a lot about like, oh, what's your intention? What's your intention? And that's all really important and beautiful and powerful. But this neuroscience is proving to us that this actually works in terms of manifesting our lives in a new way. So all of that's to say, what I'm going to guide you guys through right now is a guided meditation that's called the Dream Bigger meditation. And all of these illustrations you're seeing on the screen are illustrations that are in the book, by the way, that are done by a wonderful Black female artist named Victoria Casanova. She's just amazing. And so this Dream Bigger meditation has a couple of rules, easy rules. I want you to dream bigger than feels comfortable. And what I'm going to ask you to do in this meditation is to imagine a future version of yourself. We're going to take like a little quantum jump forward to our future self. And when you do this, I want it to feel impossible. I want you to feel like you're rubbing a magic lamp, all things are possible, all of your circumstances are overcome. And I'm going to ask you to imagine yourself living the life of your dreams. And if it doesn't feel impossible, you're not doing it right. If it doesn't feel bigger than your circumstances, you're not doing it right. And the reason why, and I'll never forget when Lauren told me this, he said, if you don't think beyond your current circumstances, you will never be able to live beyond your current circumstances. Our minds have to get there first. This is how the RAS starts to bring itself forward. And the thing is we don't have to worry about it being realistic, because the situation and what really matters is not that your vision manifests exactly how you see it. What matters most is who you become in pursuit of that vision. Who you become in pursuit, I have like an eyelash in my eye or something. Who you become in pursuit of the vision is actually what matters more than it manifesting exactly as you see it. So when we do this, you may have a bunch of images shuffling through your head and shuffling through your mind. It can be about your work or your school or relationships or family or health or your partner, whatever it is, that's fine. Just land on one and trust that whatever you see is exactly what you were meant to see today, and there's no way to mess this up, okay? And the last thing that I'll say before we begin is you don't have to get your mind to stop thinking. It's the biggest myth about meditation that possibly exists. You can't get your mind to stop thinking. Anybody who's ever told you they got their mind to stop thinking is lying, because just the idea that your mind stopped thinking is what? A thought. So we can't get our minds to stop thinking. Like that would be like me saying, all right, y'all, we're about to meditate. On the count of 3, I need everybody to get their hearts to stop beating. 1, 2, 3, go. It just doesn't work that way. And we don't want it to work that way. What I find that we actually want with meditation is not to get our minds to stop thinking. It's that we want to get our thoughts to work for us instead of against us. That's what we actually want. And that's what we're going to try to start doing with this practice right now. So let's dream bigger. You guys ready? Does anybody have any questions before I go? You can just unmute yourself or type it into the chat box or anything like that, and we'll jump in. Good? No questions? Oh, wait a second. Cool. All right, let's do it then. So, oh, somebody does. Marianne has a question. Marianne, do you want to, can she unmute herself, or Stacy, do you have to unmute her?
Let me see. I think I can unmute her. Oh, can she keep her eyes open?
Absolutely, you can keep your eyes open. Yes, you can, Marianne. You can absolutely keep your eyes open. Thank you so much for asking that. So I'm going to invite many of you to close your eyes, but you actually don't have to at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this practice. The first step has to do with your body, and I need you to get really comfortable. So there's nothing that you're going to need to see on the screen while I do this practice. And when I say get comfortable, I don't mean like church comfortable. I mean like actually comfortable. So oftentimes when I say meditate, everybody like gets really stiff and like sits cross-legged and sits really like strong and straight. Ain't gonna work. If your body is not comfortable, your brain can't relax. So get cozy. If you need to sit back, lay down, your spine does not have to be straight to meditate. Like, just get cozy. So get yourself in that position. And then I actually would like everybody to start with their eyes open. And I want you to focus on something that's straight out in front of you. It could be the screen or anything in your room, or if you're laying down, the ceiling, anything like this. And just focus your eyes on one specific point straight in front of you, and try not to move your eyes at all. Try to just keep your eyes on this one point. Notice how that feels. And then while keeping your eyes on this point, start to expand your peripheral vision while keeping your eyes focused without moving them. Notice how far to the right of you can see without moving your eyes, how far to the left of you can see without moving your eyes, how far above and below you might be able to see without moving your eyes. Just let that spaciousness expand while keeping your eyes focused on this central point. And then go ahead and take a deep, full breath in, hold it. Expand your vision a little more if you can. And then on the exhale, if you're comfortable, allow your eyes to gently shut. And if you are not able to shut your eyes, you're not comfortable doing that, you're welcome to keep them open. Just try to keep them fixed in a way. Now I invite you to take a deep, full breath in through your nose again and hold it. Place both hands over your heart and then open the mouth, let it go. Again, deep, full breath in, belly into the chest, into your heart, into your collarbone, into your throat, all the way up into your jaw. Take in a little bit more air if you can. And then open the mouth, let it go. One more. Deep breath in, belly first, chest, heart, collarbone, throat, jaw. Hold it. And then open the mouth, let it go. Now I'd like you to imagine yourself at some point in the future living the life of your dreams. You have the job you've always wanted, the relationship you've always wanted, the body you've always wanted, the house you've always wanted, the family you've always wanted. You look the way you've always wanted. You're where you've always wanted to be. And as I say that, you may have many images shuffling through your mind, trying to sort themselves and organize themselves like a puzzle piece. That's fine. Just let yourself land on one image of you living the life of your dreams. And if you're someone who's not a visual person, or if you're getting incomplete visuals, you're not doing it wrong. That's actually fine. Notice if you can imagine this with other senses. So maybe you don't see it, maybe you smell or you feel or you taste. So just notice what you notice and know that you can't do this wrong. Imagine in whatever way feels right for you. And to take this a little further, I want you to notice in this vision, are you indoor or are you outdoor? As you look at this future version of you, are you indoor or are you outdoor? What are you doing that indicates that you're living the life of your dreams? How do you know? What are you wearing? What colors do you see? As you imagine this, if it brings a smile to your face, don't hold that back. Just let it happen naturally. Let any emotions arise naturally. As you look at this future version of you, notice, is there anybody else there with you that you either know or don't know? What else is in your environment or in your space that surrounds this future version of you? Where are you that indicates that you are living the life of your dreams? And now I want you to push it bigger. So if you were imagining a house that has 3 bedrooms, make it 5. If you're imagining something, like, push it just wherever you are, make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more than your comfort zone thinks is possible. And see if you can take in any more sights or sounds or colors or textures or things that you see in your vision or feel, even if it's incomplete, even if you're just getting a little glimpse, that's fine. Trust that whatever arises is what you're meant to see. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Just come back. It's normal. See if you can just soften into this vision just 5% more, just a little softer, just 5%. And now, as you let this vision expand a little bit more, I want you to notice how does this future version of you feel? What do they feel like to be living the life of their dreams? For the next 10 seconds, I'm just going to let you take a moment while I'm silent to let this vision expand, to just notice what you notice, see what you see, feel what you feel, taking in and remembering as many little things as you possibly can. And now I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to answer this question in your mind with 1, 2, or 3 words. As you look at this future version of you, what energies do you need to cultivate in your life now, today, to become the person that you see in your vision? What energy do you need to cultivate in your life now, today, baby, to become the person that you see in your vision? Just trust that. Trust that first thing that popped up. Trust that your intuition knows exactly what it is. And if you don't have a word or words, that's okay. Try to land on something. Then take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. And keeping your energy soft and calm and silent, I want you to open your eyes, go to the chat box, and type in your words. Whatever came to you, type it in. Take your time and don't change it when you see somebody else's. Beautiful. Here we go. I see Joe, groundedness and drive. Ryan, focus, love, courage. Becca, energy. Steffi, fearlessness. Brianna, discipline. Whoa, okay, here we go. More discipline, confidence. Katie, think bigger. Kara, wisdom. Imani, wholeness. Marianne, grounded, persistence, and communicative. Beautiful. Jennifer, perseverance, dedication, lightheartedness. Rise, lead, believe in yourself. You can do this. Confidence, focus, healthier in body and mind, determination, and love. Beautiful. I would just love for a moment for somebody to share about their experience with that practice. And if you don't mind, if I can just call on somebody that I see on my window here, and if you don't feel like sharing, you also can just tell me no, that you're welcome to. So who I see here is Kathy Dana. Kathy Donna, would you mind sharing with us if we can unmute you?
Am I here?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello,
Yeah, that's perfect. Hey,
everybody.
hi, what was that like for you?
Oh, that was amazing. It was so warm and comfortable. I loved having my hands on my heart the whole time. And it really, it felt really happy, like really light. I loved it. Thank you so much. I honestly have tears in my eyes.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay,
Thank
Ryan,
you.
thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
And how about Ryan now? Ryan, are you willing to share with us? Stacy will unmute you.
I
Hey,
think same
Ryan.
with Kathy. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, how are you? I can hear you.
Hey,
Good.
Justin, good to see you. I'm teary-eyed too. For the longest time, I've been kind of fighting with just seeing a lot of negativity going on in the world, and I think I've had tough conversations with my parents about, I don't know if I want to have kids, and is this something I want to bring them into? And I I started tearing up because I was at LMU. I was in a higher role, but the title wasn't important. It's just the office I was in. I recognized the space, and I had 2 kids running around my legs, and I was smiling, and they were just playing in my office. And I had blocked that out of my future and wasn't really thinking of it. And
Wow.
that it's weird that brought tears to my eyes. So thank you.
Ryan, thank you. And what were your words? What were your
They
words?
were focus, love, and courage. Focus came to mind to that role. I really just need to drive in and focus on what's in front of me, not think too far ahead. Love, it's really going to take some good love for me to, and courage to make that step and finally say yes to opening that up into my life. So
Beautiful. Thank
those
you,
are the
brother.
three that popped
Thank
up
you so
immediately.
much. Thank you so much. Keep that. And then Kathy, is it Kathy Donna? Is that right? Can you unmute her again, Stacy? I forgot to ask her what your words were.
Yeah, it's Kathy Dana, and my
Kathy Dana.
words were positivity, courage, and love.
Great, beautiful. So thank you. And if we had more time and more space, I would want to hear everybody's, but that's why I had you guys type them into the chat box. If you guys read the chat box, you'll see how different these are. So what you just created, and I go into this a lot deeper in the book, but what you just created was actually something very powerful. In the book, I call it your unique energy signature, but you guys also might know it as a mantra. What you just created was your own personal, unique mantra that is unique and special to you. And what I want you to know why this is so important is because the real point of meditation is to realize that the guru is within you. And so often, the reason why I think so many of us, or not I think, the reason why I know so many of us have so much trouble meditating is because we're often relying on someone from the outside to tell us what we need inside to focus on so that we will be okay or more successful or whatever. And I'm not saying that guided meditations or apps or any of that is bad. But what I'm saying is they will not be the foundation that sustains your entire practice. What will sustain your practice is having a mantra that I want you to think about how powerful what just happened was. Where I invited you to go was to a place of possibility that was bigger than your circumstances, that hopefully came from within, from your heart, that was bigger and having you dream in it to be in a different place. And then here's where you are now. And what I asked you to do is to tell me what energy fills this gap. What energy fills this gap? Because the only thing differentiating you, who you are now, and you, who you want to be, is what? Your vibration, who you are being. Again, it's not about what you're doing. I didn't say, what do you need to do? I said, who do you need to be? Because again, if we're just trying to change our external circumstances by doing, it doesn't stick. It doesn't change the energy of who we have to be. So we instead go, okay, here's where I want to go. Who do I need to be? And from this place of being, then what is it that I do? And so many of us are doing the do to try to be. And so this mantra is how you actually start to cultivate that energy within you. It's like a plug that you plug yourself into to juice yourself up with the energy that you need to become the person that you know you were put on this earth to be, even if it looks different than the vision. Remember, it's not about the vision manifesting exactly as you see it. To be honest, usually visions manifest different than you see it, and sometimes even better, because our minds can't even imagine what the universe has in store for us. One of my favorite quotes is this Oprah quote of just like, the God has a vision for you that's even bigger than you can imagine for yourself, you know, and our job is to surrender to that vision, but be in alignment with the flow of that vision. And so there's a lot that we can unpack here, but what I wanted to offer to you guys is this knowledge that now you have a mantra that you can help cultivate within you to help you become who you want to be. And now people ask me, okay, well, how do I use it? What do I do? I unpack this a lot in the book, but what I'll give you guys right now is this. Remember how in the beginning of our practice, I had you guys focus your eyes on a point in front of you and try not to move it. So, and then I said, expand your peripheral awareness. So what happens in meditation when you're doing monastic styles of meditation, which are like the kinds of meditations that were taught and done by monks, which are the kinds of meditations that say, focus your attention on just this candle flame, on just this thing, and do not think of anything else. Do not focus on anything else. For most of us, because we're not monks, it feels terrible when we do that. It feels like I can't stop thinking of it, blah, 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 blah. And that's because these practices were created geniusly for monks, because to become a monk back then, first of all, you couldn't be a woman, one. Two, you had to give up everything, your whole life, your family, your desires, no sex, no food, sit under a tree to devote your life to spiritual practice. And so they had to create a practice that helped them disconnect from their desires, disconnect from the world. But look, y'all, we are not monks. We don't want we don't want to disconnect. What do we actually want? We want to connect. We want to connect more deeply to our passions, more deeply to our emotions, more deeply to our families, more deeply to the things that we care about. And so there's just a slight shift that we have to do. Yes, we focus our awareness on a mantra. This is how you flip that switch from worrying to empowerment. But as we keep our focus, we also welcome in our thoughts, feelings, sensations, and emotions the same way we welcomed in the periphery as we kept our focus on one point in front of us. We know how to do this. What we did with our eyes is the same thing you're doing with our minds in meditation. You guys follow me on that? And so you'll use the practice, and there's several different ways, but one that I'll give to you guys right now, there's 8 techniques in the book, but the one that I'll give you now is just repeating the words of your mantra in rhythm with your breath. So try it with me now really quick in closing. I invite you to just close your eyes. You can place your hands over your heart again. And in your own words, as you inhale, say the words or whisper the words to yourself in your mind or even out loud of your mantra to you with the inhale and then with the exhale. And imagine that the energy of this mantra is filling you up and soothing you, like it's just coming up from the ground or coming down from the heavens and filling up every crevice of your body inside out with this magic, with this energy, with its power, whatever your words are. And your mind will wander. Your mind will go, but what's happening is the mind is not wandering, my darlings. It's not at all. The mind is actually conjuring up all the things in your life that need to be healed, that need attention. And so if your mantra is love, what you're going to feel are all the things in your life that maybe, yes, you feel love and peace, but you're also going to have the things come up where you don't feel love, the things that are keeping you from feeling love, unfinished business, things in the future or the past, and things that you're worried about. And so what happens is the mantra comes to either bathe and soothe and release it, or the mantra comes to help bring it to your awareness again and again and again, so that you can do what? Take action. So you can take the next step, which is either going to therapist or going to what, so that you see what you need to work on. So I invite you to open your eyes. And the last thing that I'll just say here is, a lot of people think that meditation is supposed to be about relaxing. Not true. It's not about this golden white light experience. You'll have that sometimes. Like for some of you, when I guided you through this, you're like, oh, it's peaceful and relaxing. And you'll try it tomorrow and you'll be like, this was terrible. And the reason why is because meditation is not about relaxing. Meditation is about becoming more alive. Becoming more alive. Becoming more connected to your passions, more connected to your emotions, more connected to your feelings. Meditation is not about making you feel good. It's about making you feel, period. And sometimes we have to feel, we have to be able to paint with all the colors on our emotional canvas without demonizing them, so that we can heal and so that we can feel. And so that leads me into just my final invitation for you guys that you can do on your own. And I would love for you to share on Instagram or with Stacy or with anybody, because I know you guys did some artwork last week. So I would love for you guys to just spend some time, and it doesn't have to be, just to draw on paper what you imagine the energy of your mantra to look like. And you don't have to do it right now, because I know we're in closing, or you can start if you want. But as you have this mantra and this energy, if you can imagine it as a ball of energy or colors or a vision or a place or whatever, draw it out for yourself and just keep that somewhere, to just keep bringing you back to the energy that you need to cultivate to become you, the real you. So I thank you guys. I really honor you. I'm grateful to be here. Stacy, thank you for having me. And I know we're like right at our time. I went just 3 minutes over, but yeah.
Thank you you, Justin. I know that 45 minutes, like you said, just is not enough time to unpack this, but what a beautiful experience. I had shared, you know, this will be unlike anything that for me I've experienced before, and I can just say that is absolutely true. I've tried a lot of different meditation practices, and this experience that you walked us through was unlike anything I've ever done in my life. And it helps to break down some of the assumptions and the stigma and like some of the truth behind the struggles that we all have. But also what a powerful tool that we have in front of us now. And my goal with these sessions is, you know, tomorrow's Monday. Monday feels different for a lot of us now. Monday already wasn't fun for a lot of people. It's like the Sunday scaries thing, and now it might feel even more scary or unknown or different kinds of emotions that we haven't had to deal with. And so I feel like having this tool now in our toolkit as we start our day tomorrow and our day today, depending on where you are in the world, is just that much better. And I'm again so grateful that you're willing to share your very personal story with us, Justin, and walk us through this exercise. And I'm seeing a lot of amazing comments.
I know, you guys are so sweet. I'm just smiling. And I forgot, I want to tell you guys about one thing, and then Nix is going to come on with her beautiful children to lead us through an amazing prayer of protection for all of us, for our energetic protection in this time. So don't leave just yet.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell you guys about one thing that's really important to me. So my book tour, which got paused until the fall, we are doing something and have done something that's really non-traditional. You know, my book is called Stay Woke, a meditation guide for the rest of us. And the intention is to get the book out to people who have felt like they don't have access to this information, and also those of us who felt like we haven't been able to meditate. And so what we did with my publisher is we ditched the traditional book tour model, which is typically you go to like upscale neighborhoods and bookstores. And we actually decided to go to high schools and colleges in underprivileged communities all around the country and give the book away to kids for free. So we're doing these huge TED Talk style assembly events for thousands and thousands of kids. And we've been raising money to be able to go to as many schools as possible. And in the last couple months, we actually raised $140,000. So we're going to 14 schools, Southside Chicago, Oakland, Baltimore, like all over the country. And we're trying to raise money to go to more schools. We're trying to get to as many as we can in the fall, because they're really going to need us, especially after this. And so if you guys, I know this is a tough time for everybody, but if you, as much as I want you to get this book, what I want more than you to get the book is to help us get this to the kids and the families who need us most. And so in each city, we do the event for the kids, and we actually do an evening event that's open to the public. So if we're nearby you, I can meet you. And all you have to do if you want to give to help us go to more schools is to go to staywokegiveback.org. I don't know if you can type that in for me, Stacy. Staywokegiveback.org. And it's a little site that my publisher created, the Sounds True Foundation. It's all tax deductible, and it only costs $8 to give this to a kid. And you can go as big as you want. And there's even sponsorships and partnerships and stuff like that available. So I just want to share that with you guys, because I know this community really cares about getting this out to the people who need us most. We just did, the last event that I did was in Atlanta. And then before that, we did my hometown in the Bay Area. We did 3,500 high school students. Imagine in a city that is underprivileged and marginalized, teaching 3,500 kids to meditate at once. It's changing the game. And I just am excited to have you guys on the journey with me. So it's staywokegiveback.org.
Great.
I promise I'm done now.
I was going to ask how we can follow along with your journey and support you, whether it's through the book. So thank you. I didn't know about that. That is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I'll turn it over to Nix.
Yes, Nix. Yay. Hi, Nix.
Hi.
I love you. The kids.
I love you so much.
Hey.
That was so cool. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Can everyone hear us okay? Is the sound good?
Stacy, I think it's still, the camera's still on me.
Yeah, I'll just.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Okay. Let me get back to Nix here. I'm a little slow with Zoom. Sorry, guys. All right, Nix, I'm just putting the spotlight over to you.
That's cool. Is the volume good? Can you, because I'm not plugged into anything. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So, thank you guys. That was so epic. This spell as well is completely we learned this from Justin. So this for me is my huge, our entire gratitude for today is that we get to be in this space with him because we love him. Yeah, this is so cool to come together with Stacey, who we adore as well. And I love it as well because he's given you all the tools for the mantra. And that's what's so great about this protection spell as well, is that's what I love about all of these things, is it's all very well being connected to all of these higher places, but it's being able to empower ourselves, and especially in those really challenging moments, with a tool that can actually work for us in those moments. So Jem is actually going to lead us in the protection spell, which is great because we've got all the guys with us today, which is so good. And I'm sure Stacey will write it out for everyone as well, so that you can learn it afterwards. We'll do a call and response. So Jem will call it out, and then Rose and I will respond. And obviously you guys can respond. You'll obviously be in your own spaces to do it. But it's so powerful because it's allowing you, if you've maybe got a moment that is challenging or really overwhelming, it's allowing you with this, and you can call it a spell or a prayer or even just powerful words, like whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. It's about you being able to use it to empower you. And then if you've got like a challenging moment in your life, or you're about to go into a conversation that you know might be really difficult, or a meeting, you're able to take the time to say this spell, prayer, use your words, because your words are your wands, use them really powerfully to engage and align yourself. And there's one line particularly in the spell, which is that you demand something. And I just want to highlight that, because for me, when we started with this, I think there are some words that get a really bad reputation as well, either through how we got raised or for whatever, or how can I be demanding? And the reason, like, I used to really feel my throat get like stuck when I would try and get that word out. But what you're really doing with it is you're actually demanding yourself. You're calling yourself into alignment with yourself. You're demanding the highest version of you to step into that moment. You're calling for divine rays of light and love from the universe too, but it's you stepping in with your magic to that, to meet it. And so if you're not demanding that of you, then really, where are you expecting that to come from? So that is why for me it is so amazing, because you're actually really calling yourself. And you'll see Jem's chosen there's a basic spell, and then you can add in as many qualities and colors as you like. Jem's picked a couple for us specifically today, and for obviously what we're all navigating at the moment. And that is also why I love it, because you can add that in. So if it's a space that you're going to need confidence, you call confidence. If it's a space you're going to need peace, you're calling peace. And then it's you stepping into that alignment, and you working with that magic, because you are the magic. You are it, as Justin so marvelously shows us and tells us, and all the rest of it. You are it. So with that in place, this will also, with this and your own personal mantra, my gosh, we are going to be the most empowered group as we leave the space today. I am going to hand over to Jem. He's going to lead us through this amazing spell now. Go, Bex.
Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, just let it all go. Close your eyes, if you're comfortable to do that, and put your hands over your heart. I call upon a divine ray of love and protection.
A divine ray of love and protection.
And I draw a circle.
And I draw a circle
around me and my bodies.
Around me and my bodies.
And into this circle I call.
And into this circle I call.
The white light of peace.
The white light of peace.
The ocean blue light of healing.
The ocean blue light of healing.
And the golden light of renewal.
And the golden light of renewal.
And I demand
And I demand
that nothing and no one
that nothing and no one
shall come between me and my bodies.
shall come between me and my bodies.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Our way.
Our way.
Take a moment with your eyes still closed to preserve the tingling and the humming and the buzzing of this beautiful prayer. Thank you, Justin, for being so amazing and being in our lives. You are enough.
Oh
You are golden, baby. Yeah. You are enough. You are enough. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Stacey.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm gonna cry. That's so amazing.
Thank you, Jem.
Oh, thank you,
Jem.
guys.
Jem, you're 12, right?
Yes.
That's
Wow.
amazing. What a confident, well-spoken,
Wow.
passionate 12-year-old. Thank you for leaving us with this today, and a beautiful way to end.
And
Thank you
just
so
by the
much,
way,
Stacey.
that
Thank
was
you so much, Justin.
that was a bit of Justin's song. So that is totally Justin's. Jem just loves Justin's song.
I love it. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So go check out his music as well.
Always.
And thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose, for being here too. We're so happy to have your family here. It's amazing.
And if you guys would like, I will in the chat box, and Stacey, you can send it to everybody. I will type in the basic prayer of protection for everybody, so you can send that out. And it's just such an amazing thing. I do it every single morning because you are in charge of your energy space. You know, I'm not saying that it's going to block the coronavirus or anything like that. So just to be clear,
Yeah, no.
but I'm saying your energy space, you are in charge of that. And so we can set this protection to kind of clear us. So I'll type that in the chat box so you can send it to everybody.
Thank you, Justin. Thank
Cool.
you, everyone, for joining again today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and a great start to your week. Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Justin.
guys.
Thank you, Stacey. You're amazing. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Love you.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.